The American dream comes with a price tag no one talks about. Crossing borders is easy. Breaking the invisible walls that hold you back in a new country is the real challenge. If you can't break through those, they will break you. So in this video, I'll show you the hidden emotional tax of the American dream that no one warns you about. 3 unexpected reasons immigrants feel lonely in America that have nothing to do with language barriers. And a counterintuitive strategy you can use to build genuine connections in a new country. But before I unpack all of that, you need to understand a critical truth that most immigrants discover too late. Loneliness is more than just a feeling. It's a barrier, a wall that keeps you from reaching out, from connecting, from making the most out of your new life. And if you don't take it seriously, it can become a self-fulfilling prophecy. For example, did you know that 40% of immigrants report feeling intense loneliness within the first year in America? That's nearly like half of newcomers struggling in silence. So before anything else, you need to understand this. You are not alone in feeling this way. And there are ways to break through that wall. Let's start with something that surprised many immigrants. America's social fabric is fundamentally different from many other cultures. In many countries, mine included, I'm from Brazil, social connections are woven into the daily life. You chat with your neighbors, you have casual get-togethers, barbecues, and stay close with your community. Right? But here in America, especially in big cities, there's this invisible wall between people. Americans often prize independency and privacy. While this can be liberating, it can also be very lonely for immigrants, especially the ones who come from cultures where people are more connected. You might find yourself living in an apartment building for months without even speaking to your neighbors once. This isn't rudeness, it's a cultural norm, but for an immigrant, it can feel like rejection. That was me newly arrived from Brazil. In my hometown, I knew everyone. Here in the US, I didn't speak to a single neighbor for months. I didn't even know them. So understanding this cultural difference is the first step to overcoming it. It's not personal, it's systemic. And once you understand the system, you can navigate it more effectively. Now, let's talk about something that might seem unusual. How the very idea of the American dream can contribute to loneliness. Many immigrants come to America with big dreams and even bigger expectations. There's immense pressure to succeed, to justify the sacrifices we made coming here. This pressure can lead to isolation in 2 ways. Overwork. In the pursuit of success, many of us work multiple jobs or extremely long hours, and this leaves little time for socializing or building relationships, and also shame. If things aren't going as planned, sometimes we might isolate ourselves out of embarrassment. Not wanting to admit struggles to our family back home or other immigrants who seem to be thriving per se. I, for example, have an IT degree from my home country. And here in America, I was working 100 plus hours a week at a job way below my qualification level. Because of that, I was too exhausted to socialize and too ashamed to connect with others who seemed more successful than me. My pursuit of the American dream was leaving me profoundly alone. So recognizing this pressure is the first step to alleviating it. Success takes time, and there's no shame in the struggle. Sharing your journey, both the highs and the lows, can actually help you connect with others facing similar challenges. Here's something that hits many immigrants hard: the loss of your social identity. In your home country, you had a clear place in society. Your job, your family name, your educational background, all these things gave you a sense of who you were in relation to others. In America, much of that is stripped away. You're often reduced to the immigrant or the foreigner. And your accomplishments back home may not be recognized. Your social status doesn't translate. This loss of identity can be profoundly disorienting and isolating. You might feel like you don't know who you are anymore. A friend of mine, he's a respected engineer from Brazil. In America, his credentials weren't recognized. So he's been working as an Uber driver, feeling like invisible, with his years of experience and knowledge going completely unnoticed, missing the respect and sense of purpose he had back home. Recognizing this loss is the first step to rebuilding your identity. Your value isn't diminished just because it's not immediately recognized. The challenge and the opportunity is to redefine yourself on your own terms in this new context. Now, you might be thinking, but I speak English fluently. Why do I still feel so isolated. Here's the truth. Being fluent in English is just the beginning. There's a whole other language you need to learn. The unspoken language of American social norms. In America, much of the communication is indirect. People use sarcasm a lot, pop culture, come up all the time. There are unwritten rules about personal space, eye contact, and small talk that you won't find in a book, for example. Misunderstanding these cues can lead to awkward interactions, which in turn can make you hesitant to engage socially, feeding into a cycle of isolation. I know someone, for example, who speaks perfect English but doesn't get why her American coworkers feel awkward when she asks them about their salaries or their family issues, for example. In her culture, this is normal to talk about, but these misunderstandings make her coworkers avoid her, and she starts feeling more isolated and hesitant to interact with them every single time. Awareness is key. Once you recognize these invisible rules, you can start to navigate them more effectively. It's okay to make mistakes. Many Americans are understanding and even curious about cultural differences when approached openly. However, even with good intentions and openness, there's another challenge that can deepen the sense of isolation. In our hyperconnected world, you might think technology would alleviate immigrant loneliness, but it often does the opposite. Social media can create a false sense of connection. You might spend hours scrolling through posts from friends and family back home, feeling like you're still part of their lives. But this digital connection can prevent you from fully engaging with your new reality. Seeing the best moments of other people's lives online can make you feel even more lonely and not good enough. I fell into this trap myself. When I first moved to America, I spent hours every day on WhatsApp with friends, kind of talking to people that were back home, scrolling through their Instagram stories. But when I finally looked up from my phone, I realized I hadn't made a single friend in months. Technology is a tool. It's all in how you use it. Don't use it to hold on to your old life. Use it as a bridge to your new one. Join local Facebook groups. Use Meetup to find events, or try dating apps, to practice your, English, or meet people face to face. But even with new connections, there's something deeper that no one talks about. Immigration involves grief, a type of grief that is tricky because it's often ignored. After all, you chose to come here. So why is it that you feel such a deep sense of loss? Because you're mourning the loss of your home, familiar surroundings, and easy connections with family and friends. Grief that isn't dealt with will lead to depression and isolation and make you pull away from everything because you're still connected to what you left behind. When I first moved to America, I didn't miss the food or the language back home. What I really missed were the friends, the laughter, the warmth of the people. Back home, even without much money, we always found a way to have fun. I missed the bonfires, playing acoustic guitar with my friends, singing, having a couple of drinks together. Those memories made it harder to connect here, and I started to feel more and more alone. Recognizing and accepting that grief is crucial. It's okay to mourn what you've left behind, even as you embrace new opportunities. Acknowledging this can actually help you move forward and open up to new connections. Now, here's where we flip the script. All these challenges we've discussed, they're also your greatest strength. The very experience of being an immigrant, learning a new culture, overcoming obstacles, rebuilding your identity develops incredible strength and mental toughness. This resilience, when recognized and harnessed, can be the key to overcoming any type of loneliness. Immigrants often have a unique perspective, navigating two cultures, for example. This can make you a bridge builder, someone who can connect different groups of people. Your struggles give you empathy for others facing challenges. This empathy can be the foundation for deep, meaningful connections. For example, after years of struggling alone, I decided to start this YouTube channel to help other immigrants who might be going through the same challenges I faced, and my goal is to keep this channel very real and open, sharing my own struggles and creating a safe space where others feel safe enough to share their challenges. I want to help others not just succeed, but also find their own sense of purpose. So, your immigrant experience, with all its challenges, has given you unique strengths. Recognizing and leveraging these strengths can transform your experience from one of isolation to one of powerful connection. Yes, the loneliness many immigrants feel here in the US is real, but not impossible to overcome. Remember, you're not alone in feeling alone. Millions of immigrants have walked this path before you, and millions more are walking it alongside you right this second. But have you ever wondered why some immigrants thrive almost immediately while others struggle for years? It's not about luck, talent, or hard work. There's a deeper truth that most people overlook, and it can change everything about your experience. And in this video right here, we'll dive into what really makes the difference.